right, as we just heard, I've started the recording. So a couple months ago, we did a survey of topics that people were interested in, and this was the first topic that we're going to hit on, which is engaging troop meetings. And many of you guys are probably already doing this. It should be a very good review. And we're going to start with a little video that BSA put out. They're doing a lot of these videos, and it's a pretty good summary of what is all the resources that are online. We're then going to go review the main resources. I'm going to put them in the chat for you guys. So if you want to go there on your computer as well, if you have not explored these, they're really helpful resources. Everywhere from annual planning to monthly PLC meetings to the weekly troop meetings. They are a great resource. So I'm going to quickly copy that. The page that we're going to start with is troopleader.scouting.org. And that is kind of the portal to get you everywhere. But we'll start with this quick video. And
before you do that, Tom, everything all set for you?
I think so.
Okay. Then I'll just poke around somewhere else. Carry on.
All right, so I'm going to share screen here. Let's see if we get this right. Desktop 1, share. And you guys should see this video here. I'm going to hit play on this.
Hello and welcome to this month's Roundtable. Campouts are often the highlight of troop activities, but it's the weekly troop meeting that holds a Scouts BSA troop together. The troop meeting is where Scouts develop the useful and relevant skills they need for successful adventures and personal growth. But these lessons need not be dry or boring. Scouting is a game with a purpose. Well-run troop meetings can be engaging, entertaining, and fun. Scouts should leave a troop meeting feeling excited about scouting and eager to come back for more. As a youth-led organization, Scouts are the people planning and running the troop meetings. Our job as adult volunteers is to set them up for success in this task. Some experienced Scouts may not need much support to plan engaging meetings. Others will need significant help as they learn. Fortunately, there are many wonderful resources to help both you and your Scouts succeed in planning engaging troop meetings. The Troop Leader Guidebook is an excellent resource for adult volunteers to learn how to best help Scouts plan their meetings, and is a good place to start. However, almost all of the BSA's resources for planning great troop meetings can be found on the Troop Leader resource page on troopleader.scouting.org. On this page, there are resources for both the youth leadership and the adult volunteers, and we'll explore some of them in a moment. The first step in planning an engaging troop meeting is to hold regular Patrol Leaders Councils, or PLCs. This is where the youth leadership develops the troop's plans for each month. If your troop needs to polish up their skills on running an effective PLC, Introduction to Leadership Skills for Troops, or ILST, can be found here at this website, and is a great place to start with your troop for more information. During the PLC, Scouts develop their upcoming meeting plans with the Troop Meeting Planning Worksheet, conveniently found on the Troop Leader resource page. This worksheet helps the youth leadership team organize effective and fun troop meetings for the following month. The worksheet is organized in a series of activities intended to keep the Scouts moving, engaged, and interested in the meeting. We start with the pre-opening. The pre-opening is a fun activity the Scouts can join in as they arrive before the opening ceremony. Next is the opening ceremony, and it's led by the senior patrol leader, which marks the official start of the troop meeting. There are many options for an opening ceremony. They can be as simple as posting the colors or be a bit more formal with candles and readings. Afterwards, the senior patrol leader has the troop's attention for a brief announcements. Next comes the group instruction portion of the meeting. This is a special presentation, a demonstration, or introduction of a new skill of interest to the whole troop, which can be brief or be the main focus of the whole meeting. Skills instruction follows the group instruction. This is where the Scouts divide into smaller groups. The scouts in your troop are generally of different ages and at different levels of skill. To meet their needs best, we can separate them into groups based on their level of proficiency. For example, if your troop working on bicycling skills for an upcoming 50-mile ride, the group of scouts with less experience might work on learning to change tires and tubes. A group proficient in the basics might work on learning about and planning a training program for the trip. And a group of scouts with advanced bicycling skills might work on a gear storage system for the road bikes. Following skills instructions are breakout groups. This is time for patrols to plan their operations for upcoming activities, like menu plans and assigning patrol members to specific tasks. After patrol breakout groups, it's time for a game or challenge. Games can simply serve as a moment to relax and have some fun together, but they can also be an opportunity for a team building activity or to put scout skills into action. Finally, it's time to wrap up the action-packed meeting. The Scoutmaster may take a moment to present a brief story or reflection, often called a Scoutmaster Minute. In a well-run unit, this may be the only time the Scoutmaster addresses the scouts during the meeting. Afterwards, the SPL ends the meeting with a closing ceremony and briefly meets with the Patrol Leaders Council to review how the troop meeting went. They might also go over plans for the next meeting. Each of these components are an important part of a fun, engaging, and effective troop meeting. Putting together each component every week may seem like an overwhelming task for an inexperienced scout. As adult volunteers, we can set our scouts up for success by providing them resources and guidance. The first place to look is this website. From here, you can click on Troop Meeting Agenda. This is where they can find the troop planning worksheet, plus descriptions and ideas for each component of a meeting, including many games, skills, and ceremonies. The next area to explore is Program Features. In this section, a scout can find 48 themed modules with full meeting plans. There are a mix of topics, everything from outdoor activities to STEM to arts and hobbies to explore. Each module provides full pre-written troop planning worksheets and guides, which are especially helpful for scouts new to planning their own meetings. This resource is also available in a 3-volume print version at your local scout shop or at scoutshop.org. While the Troop Resources page and the Program Features Guide are packed with wonderful troop meeting resources, your scouts are not limited to them. Scouts can use the basic framework of the meeting plan worksheets to customize their meetings. Adult leaders should review the PLC's plan for health and safety, but encourage and support scouts to plan meetings they find enjoyable. Please use the additional time to discuss the questions on screen, and thank you for all you do for scouting.
Okay, so those videos are kind of fun, very enthusiastic to say the least. But it's a nice, I guess you could share this with the scouts. It's a good sort of resource. It kind of tells you what's on this page here. So let's go through this page real quick. Is everybody, were you able to pull it up on your computers? Okay. Kind of says, here's what the scouts are about. This is what's on the page. It's broken up into the 3 different things: the troop meeting agendas, the program features, and then general troop information. So we're going to go right to the troop meeting agenda. Of course, there's a little video. Share this with the senior patrol leaders or the PLC as a whole. It goes through there's a video for each section actually of the meetings. So you can have more resources with that. Here's the general plan, although you could certainly break this down into just the subcategories: the pre-opening, opening ceremony, group instruction, skills instruction, breakout groups, game closing, and then the after meeting. They used to highly recommend having a pre-meeting PLC and then the post-meeting PLC, which is that after meeting category. The pre-meeting PLC is just to make sure that everybody's there and that they're ready to do all their roles. The post meeting is to really review how they did. In our troop, we would often do roses and thorns, and which is basically what went well and what we needed to improve upon. And but it was also a moment that people, if they had a thorn, they could say something and pretty much speak freely if they were frustrated about something. And again, that would, we try to have a positive spin on that, but it fits into the category of what we need to improve. So the next thing that we get is, let's see, that's the troop meeting agenda. There is the monthly PLC. How many people do a monthly PLC? Is there anyone who does a monthly PLC? Okay, that's something that's really worth doing. One of the things that we're trying to do is teach the scouts how to plan. And it's at that meeting that we're going to assign who is responsible for teaching what skills and, giving them enough heads up to actually get it done. I know in our troop, we used to do this. I don't know if Todd, if we're still doing this, but we had one assistant senior patrol leader who was in charge of programming, and then one who was in charge of kind of all the equipment and gear. So one would plan the activities, the other would make sure that we had all of the resources that we needed to make that activity happen. Under this PLC page, there is, again, a PLC agenda, monthly planning worksheets, everything that the scouts are going to need to kind of plan a month's worth of meetings. Personally, what I used to do as a scoutmaster was anytime we had a holiday, that's when we had the PLC. And it seemed like we had almost a holiday every month with the exception of one or two. And that seemed to work out pretty well because typically our troop would not have a meeting if there was, say, Veterans Day or Columbus Day. So that was a nice opportunity to do that. Next up would be the program features. Now, this really comes into play during your annual planning meeting. And typically what we would do is have the scouts pick one program feature for every other month. We used to do once a month, but we found out that we just really weren't getting to everything. The kids didn't get to do a lot of the program because by the time you have a pre-camp out planning, post-camp out cleanup, you're losing 2 meetings a month to that, but you really only had 1 to 2 meetings. Anyways, if we go into these, say if we just went to archery, there is going to be a lot of resources in here to help the kids plan. Down at the bottom here, we have archery, just basic information. And then this is what's going to be most helpful, troop meeting planning. So that sheet that we had here, this has got a whole list of ideas and what the scouts can do actually at those meetings, pre-opening ideas, sort of everything. One of the things that we used to do is at summer camp, a lot of kids would do archery merit badge, but they wouldn't earn it because the shooting requirements were pretty stringent back in the day. So in the fall, we would do archery for our first activity, and then we would have an open shoot usually at the end of September, and most of the kids would be able to finish up the merit badge there. So it was always a fun thing, and our troop actually bought bows and I think a couple targets as well. So anyways, these are all resources that will help to allow the boys to plan and run the meeting themselves. Let me go back over to here. Let's see, that was this. There was some general troop information. I was looking at this. This page was recently updated. There's a lot of good stuff in here. A lot of it's similar to ILST, but each of these things, explains troop positions, how the patrols work, boards of review, courts of honors, a variety of things. Probably really important would be recruiting new members. But it's just got a lot of resources down here. And then I think this was the cool one. I think they had a list of different games on this page, because I don't know about you guys, for a while. No, it wasn't this page. There was one page that had a list of, I think, 200 different games that you could play. And that was fantastic because for a while, all our troop ever did was play dodgeball. And that was good for some of the kids, probably 70% of the kids, but there was always 30 that were left out, we'll say. So they had some questions for us, and we can quickly go through this. But do you guys have any questions before we get into this or thoughts about it? I'll stop the sharing screen. And one was the first question was, what can we do to support our youth leaders when they are struggling to plan their meetings without taking over the planning ourselves? What would you guys think? Todd, I know you well enough that I can call on you. What do you think? What can we do to support the youth leaders who are struggling to plan their meetings without taking over the process ourselves?
Well, first ask leading questions, is always a good way to sort of to get them going towards it. I think building an infrastructure that allows them to do, that makes it easier. So it takes some of the thought out of it. So like one of the things we instituted this year is during the annual planning meeting, they came up with monthly themes. So like this month is knots and lashing. So, it makes it a little easier for them to focus in if they know they have those certain skills to do. They have to come up with less, I think. So that's what quick.
So the monthly themes, but then asking leading questions. That's a good one. Marianne, you've had I think 2 sons who've been senior patrol leaders in a troop. And Joe, man, he was fantastic. He would show all of those videos during his PLC, and he really tried to implement the system that the Boy Scouts recommends. What are your thoughts on how successful that was? And I don't know, as an outside observer, what was your take on it?
I think it helps when the SPL can come prepared with an agenda. Sometimes it's a struggle, I think, to get the boys on board, and he had some of that. But I think to come prepared, and that's one complaint we hear sometimes in our boards of review is maybe the meetings aren't always as effective as they could be. So the more your SPL can come prepared with a plan, whether it be, the skills that they're learning or the games that they're playing, I think it helps make the meeting more effective and more interesting to the Scouts. But it takes a lot of work on their part. That's not a thing you can start doing an hour before you leave for the troop meeting. It takes quite a bit of planning ahead of time.
Absolutely. 100% agree. It kind of goes into the next question. How can we ensure our Scouts have a fully developed plan for each meeting? Jan, do you have any thoughts? How can we help the Scouts ensure that we have a plan for each meeting so they're coming in prepared?
Well, it's interesting. I just became part of our troop a year ago, and my son just became senior patrol leader last week. So in the roundtables that I've been to, I've learned a lot about the ILST program out there and the training program for our patrol leaders. That really hasn't been instilled in our troop. I haven't seen that from the Scoutmaster talking to the patrol leaders about that. So as I'm sitting here learning more stuff about patrol leaders and what, it's really should be them doing the planning, I'm sitting here thinking that my son should be sitting here with me in this meeting and listening to this, because I think I want to start showing them this resource page here and showing them the agenda. I've seen the agenda in the leader training that I've done through scouting.org. But like I said, our Scoutmaster kind of really controls a lot of what they do. And I think we should get away from that a little bit more. So I'm going to work with my son on looking at some of these resources and getting him to see what he wants to do more, and have him bring it up to the Scoutmaster and say, hey, can we start doing this a little bit more? Because I observe our troop meetings, and I feel like a lot of the Scouts get bored kind of doing the same thing over and over again, because the Scoutmaster kind of tends to lean towards the things he's comfortable with. But I think the Scouts are too afraid to speak up, I think, at times. So if I could give my son a little nudge as a senior patrol leader to speak up, maybe we can change and put some more things into effect. So
yeah, You are illustrating a very common dilemma in scouting, where you have scoutmasters who are very, very in control of things. It's 100% the boys program. If you are not doing the patrol method, as Baden Powell said, you are not doing scouts. It is a youth-led program, and the scouts should have full control of their program. So I would, if you need any help talking about that, feel free to reach out, because it's definitely
I mean, the scouts get to choose, like, especially like our out-ins and camp outs and stuff. They definitely have a voice in that and what they want to do, what activities they want to do in that. But the weekly troop meetings, there's never a plan. Like, I go in as committee chair, my husband's committee member. We go in never knowing what the scoutmaster has planned week to week, and he doesn't really work with the patrol leaders to plan things out. So I think that's something that, like I said, I'm going to have my son watch some of these ILST training videos and stuff on here, and be like, this is what you should be doing as a senior patrol leader. If you're really truly interested in this position, I think you should say something to your scoutmaster and ask them to change some things up a little bit instead of doing the same things over and over again. So
and the ILST, I do believe it's broken into 3 sections, and I think the second section, they have a listing of all of the job descriptions. And I've recommended to people in the past, if you only taught one module from the entire training, and there's 3 parts, there's 3 sections in each part, so there's 9 different sections. If you only taught one section, it would be the leadership roles, because that very clearly defines what each position, what is a patrol leader supposed to do, what is a scribe supposed to do. And then there's cards that they have that you can print out. We tried that with Marianne's son, Joe, and where you could actually like rate their performance at the end of the semester, we'll say. And it's good. It's because oftentimes the scouts do not know what their leadership role is. We often make people a troop guide, and they have no idea what a troop guide is. And it's leadership for your eagle, and it is one of the most important roles in the troop, but a lot of people don't know that. So implementing that is a great thing. And essentially, just since you probably don't know, they're the people who are primarily responsible for doing the training of the young scouts who just crossed over. They essentially act as a patrol leader, but they really assist the patrol leader and show them the culture of the troop and how things are done. And so when you're doing a meeting plan, you say, hey, what advancement do they need to work on? It's the troop guide, 1 or 2 of them are going to be the ones who are primarily responsible for teaching those skills. And it's nice because they're part of the troop, but it also keeps them a little bit separate since they're new and they're younger. And you can really be focused on their advancement. So in the chat, I put the link to the where the ILST is. Definitely something worth saving and kind of reviewing at some point. Ideally, you would teach it with every new leadership crop, so like every 6 months, but wow, it takes a lot to run that course. If you can do it every year, that would be great. We're a larger troop, so it was a little bit easier to do it in theory, but it'd be really nice if the training committee of the council was able to do a once a year kind of thing, training. So the final
question. I got a question for you as part of this. I'm going to stir the pot up a little bit here. How do you motivate the boys to want to do anything?
The leadership part.
The leadership part. Right now, they say, okay, we do the meetings, and okay, we're going to do knots next month. Okay, what are you going to do? How are you going to teach knots? Well, I don't know. Can you come up with a way to do it? Well, we'll do like a few knots the first week and see if they know it the next week. Okay, how are you going to make that happen? They don't know. You try to go through with it. This is what you need to do. Then it's all forgotten by the next week. How do you motivate it and keep them so they retain that knowledge? I mean, it's literally forgotten by the next week or even the next day. They forgot, oh yeah, I was going to do that and I forgot. We were just trying to have the senior patrol leader come up with a team building activity. Oh yeah, I looked up a couple of those, but I forgot them.
It's constant.
It's constant. So I mean, yeah, they plan out what they want to do. We try to push them in directions of how to make them do those sort of things. Then it's forgotten by the next week. How do you get them motivated to try remembering, want to do this? Most of them rather say, okay, we'll follow, kind of thing.
Yes. We do not have, we really don't have anybody who wants to even be in a leadership position is the problem.
It sounds like you might have a lot of younger scouts. What's your troop?
We have a couple very new scouts to us that are 16. One is a brand new raw scout. One came from a troop that just closed. So it's just starting to get to know us. The rest of them are 14 and down.
Okay.
14.
So youngish.
Nobody wants that.
14's not
Nobody
bad.
wants that leadership.
Hey Todd, you guys on the camp out this past weekend, you did lashings. How'd that go?
Fairly well.
Yeah.
No, I think to help with the question, particularly with the knots and lashings, is finding a skill, or not just doing it, but finding a project to go with it. I was remember back to my scouting days. It's like, how did I learn how to do lashings and knots? Well, at my scout camp, we went out on something called Pioneer Trails, and you learned like camping, pioneering, and a few all together. But they had a big project in which we built a bridge. All summer long, everybody built this bridge. So what we did this weekend was we had I bought materials to build chairs, and so we built 3 chairs, and they weren't the strongest chairs in the world, but it was just the ability to sort of get. I think if we can help them find projects like that to help just repeat those things. Yeah.
Who found the projects though? Was that the adults finding the projects or the kids coming up with the project?
Well, I think this is where we as adults need help. I mean, you're right. Them coming up with projects like this is going to be challenging, but I think that's where we can help. And them leading the project is they want to decide, what they want to do. If we can help give them the skills to figure out how to get to that point, I guess is what I'm saying.
That's the problem. They can't even decide really what they want to do. We've done campouts where we've done lashings. We've did one year, we built a complete couch basically out of lashings. I designed the dang thing and said, this is what needs to be done, showed them what we were building, and they still didn't really have a clue what I was doing. I just had them all lash it. Once it was all basically together, they kind of figured it out. But that's what they said they wanted to do. Oh yeah, we can build a couch, okay, or a bench is what I made it basically into like a couch out of a bench. But then one year he says, okay, we were gonna build a bridge kind of setup, a pole bridge type setup, and again, trying to show them in drawings and stuff that's what they wanted to do, was do something that we want to build a bridge over the creek. Okay, come up with ideas. Nobody came up with any ideas by the next week. So I had to show them this is the type of thing we had to do. The following year, they said they want to do a bridge, but they want to build a monkey bridge. Okay, that's different. Get me some designs for the structure that needs to be on both sides. Again, nobody got anything.
I mean, they're right online. We're telling them what to go look up, and then they don't.
Right.
I got a question for you here. It seems like maybe what you're trying to do is a little too complicated. I know my experience, it to do a simple tripod to hold a pot over a fire was
right. Yeah, but this is them asking us, telling us what they want to build, which all you need to do is go online, find the plans. Okay, bring your plans to the meeting. When we go on the camp out, we'll help you build it. So that's where the adult guidance comes in. Problem is, they come to the meeting the next week and nobody has any plans.
Well,
nobody looked it up. They forgot.
We forgot.
That's always the excuse. We forgot.
So that seems like an accountability issue.
Big time.
Yes, we send out email reminders. We send out Facebook reminders. Do they ever get looked at? Oh yeah, everybody's seen them. Nobody remembers it. Nobody acts on it. including parents.
Well, how about the senior patrol leader is not following through with these
Patrol
things?
leader doesn't show up every single week either.
He's on sports.
Okay. And his assistant senior patrol leader then?
There is one, yeah.
Yep.
Do they talk? No, they're in 2 different school districts, far away, and they don't talk to each other. So if the senior patrol leader is not coming, he doesn't tell anybody.
Okay. So first thing is you got a communication problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, first thing is your attendance
We
problem.
have this problem even with parents.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know there was an activity this weekend. It's been on Facebook and it's been in your email for the last 3 weeks.
And your kid is no.
And your kid knows every week we tell them this is what's going on. The kid doesn't remember. Oh, I slept in. I forgot.
Yep.
The parent forgot.
Constantly.
This is routine. We had an event for the Veterans Day ceremony. The kid forgot.
No, he texted me that morning
Oh yeah, the one forgot that morning.
asking
Yes, that's
what,
right.
where, or something like that. And he got the wrong time, never showed up. The senior patrol leader never bothered to contact us saying he couldn't make it.
That's right. Yep.
So I'm going to suggest that we talk further after the meeting because I don't want to take everybody's time up exclusively with this. But it sounds like there's a couple of issues going on in the troop that that you're going to need some support with. So
it's primarily, yes, communications is the big thing.
Yep.
I don't know how.
And then also accountability.
Yep. Let's talk to him afterwards. Let him finish up.
So one thing that I'm going to say that they highlighted in the meeting description is the post-meeting PLC. And I don't know, Todd, you guys do that pretty regularly, right? Is that valuable? What do you use that for?
Well, we occasionally do the thorns and roses like you're talking about. But what we've been doing recently is we plan the next meeting in that post meeting. Mm-hmm. So if we have any extra time in the opening meeting, we'll start it. But we typically try to plan our agenda for the next meeting then. That way, because my son was senior patrol leader and another scoutmaster, and it was always challenging to get those two together to sort of come up with a plan in the middle of the week. So what we're doing now is we'll sit down and it's like, all right, so we'll talk about we'll start to set that agenda. We'll sketch it out. Now, granted, I do typically type it out for him only because I do it digitally and I have a digital skill set. And then I'll send out to him, right before the meeting. And if there's anything else we haven't filled out, we'll try to, like, as a matter of fact, I'm sitting here, we're getting ready to do our elections, and I'm gonna send out some of these videos to them just so that they have them to watch or to show this week. But yeah, we've been trying to get, like, when we have them present, get the best plans together.
So yeah, it really seems to me that's a tool that you're going to have to use. Keep those scouts, the leaders, the patrol leaders, and the senior patrol leader and the assistant who are there, and find out who's going to be at next week's meeting, and assign the responsibilities. Have them assign the responsibilities at that time, and then you got to hold them accountable. Again, they didn't have the pre-PLC listed on their meeting plan, and they used to, but that's very valuable as well, because you're coming in, you're going, okay, hey, senior patroller's not here. You're in charge. Are you ready to run this meeting? Cool. You guys said you had these resources. We're working on this skill. Here's what we're doing. And, you're going through the meeting with them. Then the next thing is the meeting should be posted. Very simple plan. Probably what you emailed out is going to be good for that plan. But then you really got to help them, and then they've got to take ownership of it. And I think that's also the stumbling block for you. So anyways, were there any other questions? Marilyn or Mike or Dennis, did you guys have any questions? Okay. The follow-up email tomorrow is going to have all of the links in it. And so you guys will have all of those resources as well. I see in the chat it put roupleader.scouting. That's obviously troopleader.scouting. but my notes from the meeting will be in there, and so it'll have all that with the links for you guys there. So anyways, you guys are all free to go, and I don't know if they've closed out the main part of the meeting, but and the Helliers, if you guys want to chat a little bit more, we can certainly do that. I couldn't understand that. Okay. All right, everybody. If y'all want to take off, feel free. It's like, thanks so much for coming.
Thanks, Tom.
Hey, actually, speaking of, did you guys see that they're changing the Cub Scout requirements, rank requirements, and stuff? I listened to the video on that. They're going to be changing the got Arrow of Light. It's going to be its own separate thing from Weeblos, and there's a bunch of little changes that are coming up. I'll certainly shoot you a link when I see the video comes out specifically about that one. But today's video was the introduction to all the changes that are happening. They're getting rid of Bobcat, so that's no longer going to be a rank. It's going to be a belt loop that you have to earn at each rank. That's a big change, you know.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, you know, it's a cute little badge. Anyways, it's interesting, but the only one that's really going to concern us is the Arrow of Light, and they're trying to change it to really look at, it's now really the transition between Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts. So I think that as the changes go, it's really gonna be in that regards. I mean, I can see the bones of it were already there, so it'll be interesting to see the small changes and tweaks they make to it. So, but when the video comes out, apparently they're going to release one video a week of the in-depth changes, and then the whole new program comes out in June. So,
hopefully some more integration, getting them into Scouts more, getting them to meetings, getting them